How did you make that jump from being a learner to a practitioner?
Yeah, so I got it. The last job I had was working in the finance industry, and they taught me to learn a lot, right? So it was automobile university, always learning, studying, reading books, programs, Zig Ziglar, pump your brain full of good education. And in that, had some private meetings with the owner as we were starting to grow. And there was one thing that he said, and it had to do, really at the core of it, it had to do with focus. And I kept talking about real estate, but I wasn't focusing on that thing. And he was trying to figure out why I had the skill set to be a 7-figure earner there, but I wasn't yet. And he said, I think you're trying to serve two things, and you got to figure out what your one thing is to be successful. Certain he most likely meant, how can we get you to focus on this one thing? I actually walked out of the office that day, and in the worst time of my life said, aha, I finally figured out what I haven't figured out for a decade. I just need to go all into real estate and give it every single thing I have, every ounce of my body and being, burn my bridges or boats, so to speak. And I did. And that was it. I just went into real estate. That conversation, and probably tons of other conversations that were in my brain that I'm not referencing, was the triggering moment to say, go. And I did, and I never looked back. And that doesn't mean I, as people would think, and then you made millions. Yeah, no, it didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
I actually worked more than I ever thought I would work in real estate. I did make a lot of money. I did have a lot of cool things happen. And I just started wholesaling houses. I didn't know that term at the time.
Yeah.
But that's what happened. And then it just started occurring like, hey, can you do property management? Yes, I can do that because it serves another purpose and helps more people. Yeah. Then that itch turned into something else. And then a couple hundred doors down the road, USA Portfolio got done because I took a look at all that and what I was doing and said, there's a better way to do this. And I could create a brand and actually focus on one part of real estate, which was turnkey real estate.
Oh.
And so that was USA Portfolio. The idea was I will service buyers of specifically turnkey rentals. And so I got clear from a marketing perspective on who was my customer, my avatar. And I want to focus on just that thing and nothing else, and learn, from the lesson I took from going in, I became then, instead of learning all the time, I was learning by way of failing. And so that's my new model, right? I love to read, I love to learn, but I love more than anything to implement my knowledge so that I can learn from the implementation. Because I think you learn the most in those failures, quote unquote failures.